Hello friends, I'm a feral raccoon and welcome back to another soggy bread bowl. And this week I am not doing the final episode of Bad Fanfiction because I realized that it was a kinda cringe. So today instead I'm going to be telling you a story time. So yeah, we're jumping into story time videos now. It's one of the plans that I've had on my list for a while, so let's get into it. This one is about a crazy security lady that I dealt with once. The story involves a friend of mine who, for the sake of the story, I will call Spicy. Now, before this incident had occurred, Spicy had interactions with this security lady before and had told me about it. And I thought it was just over-exaggeration. So anyway, it was about 9 at night, and me and Spicy are going to Subway in a shopping mall, and this shopping mall has this known crazy security lady in it, but we thought, oh, maybe she won't be there tonight, and I'd never met her before. And so we're in there, and we're getting Subway, and a lady comes into the Subway, and she says, hey, do you guys have a security guard? Because a lady just came up to me and said that I've been causing trouble here for 2 hours, even though I just got off work. And the Subway workers were like, oh, that's kind of weird, okay. So nobody thought much of it, and we went along with our night. And then when we're leaving Subway, we get into my car, and we try to leave. And the way the Subway leaves, it's kind of like a... If you've ever driven before, you've seen them before, it's kind of like a Y, and you can enter in one way, and you can leave another way. And so there was a car parked in the exit, and I go, okay. So I'm sitting there, and I'm just sitting there for a minute watching her, and Spicy goes, okay, just go around, go the other way. And I, all right, fine. So I start backing up, and this crazy older woman runs out of the car that's parked there and runs behind my car and takes a picture of my license plate. Now I had just gotten this car, so the license plate wasn't an actual license plate, it was just a paper saying when I got the car. And so she runs back to her car, flipping me off, saying, I got you, and I just drive off. And we're halfway down the road, and I look at Spicy and I go, you know what? No, I'm not okay with this, so I'm gonna do something about it. So I quickly turn around and drive all the way back to the shopping center. And when I get there, she's still parked in the same spot, so I park my car in a parking space, run up to her car, and take a picture of her license plate. On the way back to my car, I accidentally hit the panic button on my keys, so my car alarm starts going off, blaring. I fumble with my keys for a second to turn the alarm off, and by that time I had gotten the attention of everyone. So the security lady puts her car in reverse and backs up as fast as she possibly can, almost hitting another car and a pedestrian. And she rolls down her window, and she goes, hey, why are you being a cunt? And I go, why are you being a crazy fucking bitch? And so she starts yelling at me, and eventually I yell back at her, I'm gonna call the cops, I'm calling the cops on you. And she goes, do it. And so as I'm calling the cops, she pulls her car around behind my car, almost hitting me in the process. And when she realizes that I'm actually calling the cops, she goes and parks her car, because I think she's trying to get out of, the situation. And an important thing to note here is that when she parks her car, she always puts on her hazard lights for whatever reason. And so she parks her car, and I realize that she is also trying to call the cops on me, which she does to people. She calls the cops on people for no reason. So we call the cops, and then me and Spicy, we decide we're gonna go to the grocery store that's in this shopping center. So we run down to the grocery store after we've called the cops, and we talk to the manager there, and we ask if the manager has a number for the security office so that we can report this lady. He says he doesn't, but he also says that we are the 5th people that night to come in and talk about her, so he's gonna make sure that she doesn't have a job by Monday, which is a good news for us. So after a little while of walking around and telling our friends about what's going on, we see 3 cop cars pull up. One is a car, one is an SUV, and one is a truck, all carrying 2 cops each. So we run outside and we go talk to them. And one of the officers walks up to the security lady's car, and she's just screaming at them. And so we're talking to another officer, who I'll call Officer 1, and the officer that's talking to the lady I'll call Officer 2. So we're talking to Officer 1, and they ask us what's going on, and we just go, no, she's just being fucking crazy, and she's been like this all night, and this isn't the first time. And I point at Spicy and I go, this isn't the first time she's had a run-in with her either. And so eventually Officer 2 comes back, and Officer 1 looks at him and goes, so, what's going on with her? And Officer 2 goes, yeah, she's just a crazy fucking bitch. And so they tell us they're going to take care of it, and so we go away. And the end of the story is kind of anticlimactic. All of the cop cars drive away. But we notice that the security lady's SUV is sitting there without the hazard lights on, and it doesn't look like anybody's in there. So, I think she might have gotten arrested. But according to the cops, specifically Officer Number 2, he told us that she's constantly calling the cops on people that aren't doing anything wrong just because they're, they exist. Yeah, that's my Storytime video. I knew it was kind of anticlimactic. Sorry for not being overly presentive. I live in a house with 4 other people and kind of don't want to have them hear me talking. But after last week, I enjoy this idea of having a different thing to do every week. So every Monday, I'm going to have a video that does not correlate with the last Monday's video so that it doesn't get monotonous and boring. And with that being said, that was the first story time. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see the final episode of Bad Fanfiction for any reason, let me know eventually, and maybe I'll get back to it. But until next time, take your medication.